let's just say that the winner shall be a certain team from a certain Midwestern town that starts with a C, ends with an O, and in the middle is Hikag. A team that is known as the Bears.
The Bears.
We're fired up. We're fired up about this.
Who are the guys that are the best in the world and make the rest of the team look like a gaggle of girls? The Bears!
I don't go to church, and I know God understands. I can stay on my couch because God is a fan of the Bears.
They are as strong as a legion of heroes. When the Super Bowl comes, they'll win 100-0. The Bears! They are the Bears, and we are the fans. And when the Super Bowl's done, we're going to Dickland. The Bears! The Bears!
Dominate every single play. Wait for the guy next to you, and we gonna come out victorious. Let's go! Bears on 3, 1, 2, 3. Bears. Go.
The Bears defense, they tackle with mean intention.
What? We're playing our game now. He's got to be rugged up front and rush this passer when our opportunities come.
Here comes a strong rush. Hitting Foles as he throws it into the end zone, and it's intercepted by Amos. Second takeaway of Nick Foles. The pressure married with the coverage.
I just told you you're going to get a pick. I told you. Just like Rams game, bro. He lobbing the ball, bro. Cody, just say what's up, man. You know we old friends.
Here's the snap in the placement. The kick made by Cody Parkey. It is up. It is good. Good from 29, and the Bears have the lead.
Hey, mount up. We're going to roll. Let's go.
Bears down 10-9. They're knocking on the red zone door at the Philly 21. Down the right sideline. He's got Robinson. Touchdown, Bears! Allen Robinson. Let him down the right sideline.
Let's settle down. We got enough points to win this game. Let's end this game. If we don't stand up right here, we're going to die. Finish this.
It is 4th and goal at the 2-yard line of the Bears. 1:01 left.
This is probably the season right here.
We're going to score. And it's on us.
Foles takes the snap. He rolls. He looks. He fires. And it is complete.
Nick Foles has directed many game-winning drives, including one in the Super Bowl, and he just did one right there, completing it to Golden Tate. With under a minute left in the game. Here's Tariq Cohen at the 10, hit at the 20-yard line, spins off, running right to the 30, to the 35, and he runs right out of bounds. That's a big return.
Cody Parkey is warming up.
Second down and 10. Bears down a point. Whips it down the right side. Robinson's got it! And the Bears have the ball inside the Eagle 35-yard line. Cody Parkey has had his challenges here in 2018, and here can send the Bears to the NFC Divisional Playoff game from 43 yards.
Ice that ass.
And the Eagles take a timeout. Parkey's kick did go up, and the kick was good.
Hey, Cody gonna miss that next one. Go on the sideline, boy. Cody!
Take a deep breath. This is it right here. Kicked, and it is no good.
His 11th missed kick, inches away from a trip to the NFC Divisional Playoff. Deflating. Tough one to swallow.
All love, brother.
Hey, love you, man.
Keep it up, man.
Thank
love
you, bro.
man.
Appreciate it.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Bears Fan Cave podcast, weekly postseason outlook. This is the first edition. I'm going to see if I can keep up with this weekly throughout the postseason, if I have enough content to talk about. But As of right now, there's a lot to talk about. Obviously, a hard loss on Sunday. I have Jesse with me again today from Chicago Bears 24/7 on YouTube. How are you today, Jesse?
Hey, I'm doing great, man. Hey, what's up, everybody?
Word, man. We're now on YouTube, my podcast, so those will be all on YouTube. Maybe a day later, because the first time I tried uploading it, it took like 16 hours just to post it onto YouTube, so it does take a little while longer than putting it on iTunes.
Okay.
But, I mean, let's just talk a little about the Sunday game. I'm not trying to reopen any any wounds here.
Or any the wounds, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, you can blame it on a lot, but personally, I mean, I blame that on Cody Parkey. He's going to be the second highest paid kicker in the league, and you're kicking a field goal from 43 yards, not 63. I don't know why you would drive the ball low and even allow it to be tipped by someone on the Eagles. So, I mean, Trey Burton, he can be blamed also, in my opinion, for that was a fucking pussy move by him. He said his body locked up. I mean, he gave Matt Nagy at most 36 hours to game plan. At the very least, he had 10 hours to game plan. When we knew Trey Burton wouldn't play, but that really took Cohen out of the game plan, or not really out of the game plan, but it took him out of the game since the Eagles were able to focus on him more, since Trey Burton wasn't a factor at all since he didn't play. I mean, that we talked about this last week, how the middle of the field was going to be crucial for the Bears on offense, and Trey Burton not being there was really the big factor, because Adam Shaheen, man, he fucking sucks. I've been saying it since draft day. I mean, what I saw on Sunday has not changed my opinion in a good way. I mean, who was that? Cravon LeBlanc? He tried jumping over instead of just trucking through him.
Yeah. Cravon LeBlanc speaking of 5'9", man. I mean, come on. You weigh 270. You can just run this guy over, right? But
right. He had like 80 pounds on him.
Stopped him. He stopped him 1 yard short. It was like, come on, dude. Are you serious? He literally, just as soon as he hit him, he just like stopped. I was like, what? Are you like, dude, you're 270. Yeah. That was weak.
Yeah, it always seems like he's stumbling around and getting injured after he gets tackled. So, I mean, Adam Shaheen, not a real liability for the future, in my opinion. I mean, maybe even Trey Burton, man. I mean, this was really his first season of a heavy workload. I mean, what did he have? Like 46 total receptions in his career before coming here. So,
I mean, it's the same thing even with Taylor Gabriel too, right? Like he had one really good year. I think it was with Cleveland before he was with Atlanta or something. But as far as him being a starter or a number 2 receiver, which is what he was for us, this is really his first time. So the only really proven commodity that we had was Allen Robinson coming into the season as far as being a proven offensive playmaker as far as the free agents are concerned. And I mean, he showed out in this playoff game. He really did set a franchise record for yards by a receiver in a playoff game for the Bears. So that's great. But that being said, I'm not trying to knock the other guys, but coming into the season, they were expected to do more than what they had already done in their career.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why it took really the whole offense to realize that Allen Robinson was a huge mismatch. I tweeted out in the whole first half. I was questioning why they're not looking at Allen Robinson at his way. I mean, no one on the Eagles was really able to stop him. I don't have the stats pulled up in front of me like I usually do because I don't really want to remember that shit, but I think he had 9 targets and 7 receptions for 145 yards and 1 touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me see. I'm going to look it up right now.
But, I mean, he could have had a lot. I think he could have had over 200 yards if they really
he had
started.
10 catches for 143 yards. I'm not sure how many targets he had, but yeah, he had 10 catches though.
Yeah,
So
so I mean,
13 targets. So he was like, yeah, I thought, going into the game too, like that was one of the things I put in my video. That matchup for the Bears that would have been favorable would have been him against the cornerback for the Eagles. He's only 5'9". He's a rookie, like a fourth rounder. I just felt like, or maybe a third rounder, but I just felt like that's an easy play there, and it was, man. Allen Robinson was tearing his ass up all day. Even in the first quarter, they went at him a couple times and did well, and then just didn't really go back that direction a lot. I don't know what was up there, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, really the one good thing that did come out of this game was Trubisky's growth, really, we saw in this playoff game. Quarter by quarter, his passer rating just went through the roof. Really had a rough start in the first half, but he had a near perfect passer rating in the fourth quarter and put us in field goal range to win the game.
Right.
But that's just something to look forward to next season. I mean, Trubisky, I think altogether, off the top of my head, I believe that was about his 40th game played in college and NFL all combined. So, I mean, he's still growing a lot. He hasn't really had a lot of reps at top level. So, I mean, the more he gets, yeah, definitely the more he gets, he's going to get a lot better. I remember people were knocking him for not knowing what a hard count is, and I remember just a few times this year he was catching defenses with the hard count. So he's definitely come a long way. He's reading defenses. Matt Nagy was talking about how he reads the defense instead of worrying about what the offense looks like. He's worrying about what look the defense is giving and if he can change the play. So Trubisky's growing a lot. So that's something really to look forward to.
It's actually exciting because if you're thinking about what he's done, and the whole season, right? Like I started my YouTube channel after the Arizona game because there were so many questions about his growth and what he was going to be, how he was going to do. And man, just watching the film, I'm telling you, man, from just the week one till this year, at the end of the season, this playoff game, there's been a huge growth. Like, and I think we all know what Matt Nagy can scheme, how he does. His scripting, he's good. I think the future is definitely bright in Chicago at the quarterback position. After that playoff game, I think a lot of Bears fans were already, I think a lot of people were decided already, like, oh yeah, I think he's this or that. But he kind of put some of the national people on notice too, saying that he's actually a little bit better, because everybody was saying he was like the weak link, and actually I was never in that opinion that he was the weak link. The weak link was special teams, and that's what lost the game. Ultimately, right? And I know you can blame anything, right? You can blame every single play. There's something you could pick out and say, but ultimately, when it comes just to one play to win the game, what failed the Bears was the special teams, not the quarterback. So, I think, man, the future looks good for Trubisky at quarterback. I'm hoping that within his 5 years of his contract, that the Bears are going to be able to win a Super Bowl because he's going to get paid afterwards. I'm pretty sure of that.
Yeah, hopefully they're able to win that Super Bowl. It'll really draw a lot of people to Chicago in terms of free agents who will likely sign for cheaper deals just to get a Super Bowl. I mean, a lot of players are hungry for that. I mean, we really think a lot of them are really want that money, but just look at everyone on the Patriots. I mean, one of the best quarterbacks that people consider, Tom Brady, takes a pay cut every year.
Exactly.
Yeah, just so they can win that Super Bowl. So hopefully Ryan Pace is able to build something like that. That's something we'll talk about a little later. That I want to talk about is some of the contracts coming up, some of our free agents, and
okay.
So we'll talk about that a little later. But from the game, I mean, Vic Fangio, now he's obviously gone. I was really, I mean, I don't know, man. I I didn't watch tape yet. TV gives you a different look of what you see on tape, but from what I saw on TV, from watching just one time, was I mean, Kyle Fuller was playing off his man. I mean, Nick Foles, if you look up Nick Foles' stats, he's horrible against zone defenses, so obviously Fangio knows that.
Right.
He gave him a zone look just about every play. And that means that Kyle Fuller was playing 15 yards off of Alshon, and I mean, Alshon was just tearing him up most of the plays that he got the ball thrown his way. So that's something I didn't like. I wish Kyle Fuller stepped up. I mean, that was not an all-pro caliber game, in my opinion, from Kyle Fuller.
No, it wasn't in my mind either. I think ultimately what really hurt the Bears was having Bryce Callahan. I mean, we gave up a touchdown to Golden Tate. McManus had coverage in that and didn't cover him. I mean, he was on him, right? But he wasn't good enough to stop the touchdown, and that was a 4th down, right? So, gave up a touchdown, and then there's another play. I was looking at some of the film where he just beats him over the top, and Golden Tate does for like a huge play down the middle. That one where he took the big hit at the end, and you know, I don't know. I know it's only one guy to pick out, and those are only 2 plays, but one of them is a touchdown. And when you put points on the board, you can't take those points off. So I think missing Bryce Callahan in the secondary was huge. And then I never even really saw Eddie Jackson out on the field ever. I don't even know if he even played. So that was another thing, obviously. The middle of our field wasn't too tight.
Yeah, that's something to, I mean, Eddie Jackson going into next season, we'll talk about that when we talk about contracts, because obviously Amos is going to be a free agent. But, I mean, Deion Bush, he definitely stepped up in place of Eddie Jackson.
Yeah.
For the, last 3 weeks of the season, including the playoffs. So, I mean, Deion Bush is all right, but I wouldn't feel comfortable with him starting next year in place of Adrian Amos. But I mean, I think not having 3 starters really killed us. Bryce Callahan, Trey Burton, and Eddie Jackson, that really killed us. I mean, Trey Burton for our offense, he's really, that U tight end position is a centerpiece in Matt Nagy's offense, and not having that really killed us. I mean, some plays we even tried utilizing Ben Brownecker and even Adam Shaheen, that one play when Trubisky did the shovel pass. I mean, that's a play designed for Trey Burton right there.
Yeah, he went nowhere, right? I think he got 1 yard or 0, yeah.
Yeah, I mean...
They keep running that play, man. I'm like, damn, stop running that play. They run that shit a lot.
Dude, Adam Shaheen just looks like a fucking... I don't even know, dude. He just looks like a fucking giant tree when he's running. He's fucking so uncoordinated. I hate that dude.
Yeah.
But, I mean, other than that, plays that lost us the game, I mean... That first touchdown drive, 3 penalties, really killed us. I think Adrian Amos had his 1 penalty when he went for the hit instead of picking off the ball.
Yep. And then we had a pass interference, and then we had 12 men on the fucking field, and then on the touchdown pass, we only had 10 people on the field.
Yeah.
So it's like, what the hell? We got 12, then we got 10, then we got like all these penalties. I mean, that whole series was horrible, right? I mean, I don't know, man. It's just like, oh my god, like, how are you making it? You know, on the touchdown pass, no one was even open. I mean, it was just a good play, right? It made a good play. The offense did. Nobody was open, and we only had 10 men on the field. So I'm not even sure, like, what the 11th man would have done. Maybe really nobody would have been open. I don't know what was happening there, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, horrible time for Adrian Amos to get the 5th penalty of his career. At that exact moment.
Yeah.
If he picked that ball off, I mean, we wouldn't even be Cody Parkey wouldn't even be a meme right now.
That's true.
But dude, I don't know. There was so much that happened in that game. our offense was really flat the first half. But I think Matt Nagy definitely adjusted well from not having Trey Burton in that first half. He saw what he needed to do. He really exposed the Eagles by using Allen Robinson a lot. So I haven't watched tape obviously, but Trubisky, shit. I tweeted that he's already the best quarterback in Bears history from that playoff game. First QB to have over 300 passing yards, I believe, in a Bears playoff game. And he also had the highest passer rating of a Bears quarterback all time this season. So, man.
Well, I don't think there's any doubt in my mind that he's going to end up being the best ever to play in a Bears uniform. But he needs that ring, though, to put the cherry on top before anything can be cemented. Like, regular season stats are great, but like you said, the playoffs is where it really makes a difference. And, I mean, he played a hell of a game in the second half. I give it to him. Started off a little bit slow, but, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I really hope we're able to get that. I mean, I think right now that the Bears are in a position to set themselves up for a dynasty if Ryan Pace is able to pump in more draft picks. I mean, just looking at the contracts, we'll talk about that very shortly. Okay. But I mean, just looking at the contracts, if we're able to pump in cheap talent through the draft, I mean, that's where dynasties are really sustained. So Ryan Pace, his past, how long has he been here? 4 years, I think. So his 4 years of drafts have really been great. I mean, I'd give him at worst, I think was man, I can't even think. I think his first draft was probably the worst one, and that's still a B+ grade right there. So I mean, he's a great drafter. He can definitely sustain talent in this team. We're missing the first and second round pick this year. I mean, usually I'm big on mock drafts, but I have not watched any college film this year since we're missing our first 2 round picks, and we only have 4 picks this year, I think. So usually I do a big board in a mock draft, but I've been able to put it off to just see really who's going to be available in later rounds. So I'll get to that probably in a few weeks. But, man, do you have anything else to say about the Eagles game before we move on to the...
I just want to say one thing about Cody Parkey. Okay. Now, I watched that kick just a few minutes before I got on the podcast with you, the one that got blocked. And the reason it got blocked was because James Daniels got fucking ran over. If he wouldn't have got ran over and would have held his block instead of letting his man penetrate about 3 feet in, it would have never been blocked. So just want to throw that out there for anybody who has the film and go back and look at James Daniels get pushed back and opened up and let the guy get in. And that's what happened right there. So anyway, Cody Parkey still sucks ass. Get his ass out of Chicago. But that's what happened on that play.
Yeah, I mean, I saw something on Facebook where they did a trajectory pattern of the ball if it wasn't to be tipped, and then when it was tipped, I mean, he barely got a fingertip on it, so the trajectory just slightly changed. I mean, it looked like Cody Parkey. He said he was playing the wind, and there was no wind in the stadium, so he was aiming for the left side. Either way, so it could have definitely hit the field goal post, even if it wasn't tipped. But I think if it wasn't tipped, that it would have hit the field goal post and gone in rather than.
I thought it was gonna go in when it hit the field goal post the first, and I hit it. I was like, oh, it's gonna go in still, and then it hit the bottom. And I'm like, is it gonna bounce in? And then they were like, no, and I was just like, is there a flag? I'm like, fuck, man.
Bro, I was celebrating, and then I see the Chicago Bears mascot in the background just fall to the ground.
Dude,
and I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? And then they're like, it's no good. And I'm like, oh, what the fuck, dude? Oh, my God. When Bears games, like, even if they win, man, I just shut the game off immediately. I don't want to hear the fucking bullshit. But this game, like, I fucking sat down for at least an hour with the TV on, like just fucking amazed at what happened. Like I was fucking mind blown.
I think everybody was like, "What the fuck just happened?"
But hopefully it makes a great story for next season.
Yeah, redemption somewhere.
Yeah. If you don't have anything else from that game,
let's move on.
All
Go
right,
ahead and see what else you got.
Let's get into our contracts. I mean, I'd love to get rid of Cody Parkey, but right now his cap hit is going to be $4,062,500. And if we cut him, he'll count $5,187,500 against the cap. So if we cut him, we'll technically lose over $1 million against the cap. So we really can't cut him. Bobby Macy, Bryce Callahan, and Adrian Amos due for big contracts. Personally, I don't have Adrian Amos re-signed. I mean, I'd love him re-signed, but right now it's really a toss-up. We're going to have to see who Vic Fangio is going to be able to poach from us. I think guys are going to want to be in his system again, so we might see a few people go to the Broncos. Just like John Fox did when he came to the Bears. He was able to get Danny Trevathan to go with them. But right now I have Bobby Massey signed for $6 million per year, and then Bryce Callahan also at $6 million per year. Right now the highest paid nickel in the league is Bobby McCain for 4 years at $27 million, which is about $7 million per year. I get Bryce Callahan at a discount because he hasn't played a full season yet, obviously. So we might be able to even get him for cheaper. Other than big contracts, I have Eric Kush at $1 million, Patrick Scales at the veterans minimum, also with Ben Braunecker for $720,000, and then I have exclusive restricted free agents as Isaiah Irving, Rashad Coward, and Roy Robertson Harris. But it'll be interesting to see what we do with Adrian Amos' situation. We can either replace him in the draft or possibly a cheap free agent. I'm going to have to look into that a little later, but let me see. Also, the punting situation with Pat O'Donnell. I mean, he's also one to blame when we lost against the Eagles with that horrible punt. Started the Eagles off at their own 40-yard line for that last touchdown drive. So I'd definitely bring in another punter just to test him out. But Ben Braunecker is definitely someone I would re-sign for depth. And then Daniel Brown might be someone also, but Benny Cunningham, I think he's gone. Taquan Mizell is pretty cheap. I don't like him, but Matt Nagy seems to like him, so Josh Bellamy, get him the fuck out of Chicago. Aaron Lynch.
I think Aaron Lynch is gone. Kevin White's gone. I actually think Bobby Massey's going to be gone too, just because he's 30. Yeah, he's 30, so I feel like they're going to be looking for something a little bit younger and something cheaper. Maybe they can have somebody in the third or fourth round, but I think for sure that he's out of there. Obviously, Kevin White's gone. I think maybe the Bears might be looking to trade somebody on their defensive line because we re-signed Roy Robertson Harris. Then, and with our Blau Nichols played really well this year.
Yeah.
So we have actually a little bit of depth on our defensive line. If we wanted to trade one person off that line to try to fill in for one of these people who are going to be missing. So I think that we'll re-sign Isaiah Irving, and he'll probably start taking some of Aaron Lynch's snaps, and that's where those snaps are gonna come in, because we drafted last year. We drafted two outside linebackers, right? So let's see what are the. Let me see right here. We drafted the guy from Western Kentucky, Joel Iggy. I have no idea how to say this guy's last name. Sorry, man. If he's listening, dude. And then Kylie Fitz, right, from Utah. And both of them are on the roster. So I expect one of those 3 guys, including Isaiah Irving, to step up and be part of the rotation at outside linebacker. So then that just leaves. So we can get rid of Aaron Lynch, no problem. Not even worry about that. But then the nickelback position. We have that guy Kevin Tolliver, right? But he played only on the outside. So I don't know what we'll do with the nickelback position, because that's going to be interesting going into that, because Bryce Callahan played so well, but then he was injured. So who knows how that's going to work out. But Adrian Amos, like you said, I don't know if we'll be able to re-sign him either, because his number, what he's going to get, is going to be like, I would say top 10 safety level for sure. And I'm not sure if we have. I think I think DM Bush could step in and start as long as he's playing strong. I think he could step in and do that. And with Eddie Jackson still back there, I think it wouldn't be too bad of a drop off, or maybe not even a drop off at all. But my biggest concern is like what's going to happen at the right tackle position, honestly, because if Bobby Massey steps out, then we have literally nobody on the roster to step in. We're also going to have on the offensive line, Brian Witzman, free agent. He's probably gone. And then Eric Kush is also a free agent since he got benched. He's obviously gone. So that's 2 depth players plus a starter we're going to be missing. So the Bears are going to have to figure out how to get some kind of value from somebody cheap to fill in at both depth and potentially even a starter at the right tackle position, because we don't have another starter on our roster at right tackle unless there's somebody who's just going to come out of nowhere that we don't know about. So as far as being able to fill, I think we can fill in all the other spots, maybe not nickelback and maybe not right tackle. Those are the 2 that worry me the most.
Yeah, I've watched college football wasn't really a focus for me this year because how good the Bears were. Previous years I've been watching that nonstop to see who the Bears are going to get in the first round. But I've watched enough to have an outline of who I'm going to watch when I do watch some tape. Right now, for number one importance, I think, is someone on the O-line, because we could be replacing Kyle Long or Bobby Massey. Because of their contract situations, but right now, it's Wisconsin that I'm gonna have to watch with. Let me pull up Michael Dieter, Tyler Biadasz. I don't know how to say his last name, and then also they have David Edwards, who's a tackle. So I think we could get David Edwards possibly with our 3rd round pick. But I'm definitely going to be watching Wisconsin for all their games first to see their offensive line, because they had a really solid offensive line at positions that we need. So that'll be something I want to watch. But other than that, we might honestly be drafting Jordan Howard's replacement. I
was thinking that too, but now at this point in time, I'm thinking, value. What's the value here that we're going to get at a 3rd round draft pick? Like, what's the important position for the 3rd round draft pick? Is it right tackle? Is it guard? Is it nickelback? Is it running back? Which one of those is the value that we're going to get, that we're looking for? Like, what's going to help the team the most? What do you think about that?
Yeah, now
at the 3rd round.
Yeah, right now it's just since Ryan Pace came in, his mentality's been drafting the best player available. So, positional need does come into play, but I think I think he's going to be drafting the best player available, like he usually does. I think he definitely considers the positional need, but if, let's say running back's the 5th most important position in this draft, and his best player available on the board is a running back, I think he'll get the running back in the 3rd round. So I think that's how he's going to draft again, like usual. But other than that, free agency, we don't have a lot of room unless we're able to like restructure Kyle Long's contract, cutting Deion Sims and Sam Acho is a definite for me. That saves about $9 million on the cap. Right now with my signings, I had Bobby Massey, Isaiah Irving, everyone that I named before. So after all the resignings and cutting Deion Sims and Sam Acho, we have about $11 million left in cap room. So that, I mean, we'll have a very cheap rookie class considering we have all later round picks.
Yeah, Deion Sims' salary cap for next year is $6 million.
Yeah,
so
and then
he's out of there for sure. And he may retire because they were saying that his concussion was so severe, it may force him to retire. So if he has to retire, I'm not sure how that affects our salary cap as far as cutting. It may not be any kind of impact at all.
Yeah, his dead cap would only be about $300,000. Sam Acho's $250,000. But I mean, other than that, nothing really else to look at. I think Kevin White's definitely gone, as you said. Aaron Lynch, I mean, if we can get him at an affordable price, I'd definitely like to have him back. Eric Cush,
not $6 million.
Yeah, Eric Cush, he's good depth to have. Definitely someone I'd like to keep under $1 million. But other than that, man, nothing really else. You want to talk about the? I know you got to go. You want to talk about some defensive coordinator candidates?
Yeah, let's just talk a little bit. I was reading over the list and stuff and seeing what people were saying. As far as, I guess they've kind of boxed them into like who's on the team, who could we like promote, right, and who could we like get from outside. So like Ed Donatel, the secondary coach, I think his contract's up, right? So he might actually go with Vic Fangio. They're talking about that he could, because his contract is up for the Bears. But Ed Donatel is someone who could possibly be bumped up to defensive coordinator, or Jay Rogers, who's the defensive line coach. So I think when you look at either one of those positions, you have to realize that the defensive line was outstanding, and so was the secondary. So both of those coaches probably did a really good job doing what they were supposed to do, right? Now, it's probably more likely that out of those two, that Jay Rogers is the one, if it's an internal candidate, it gets promoted. As far as like the people from outside, all the people that the Bears have been like, everybody's the wish list or whatever, those people are already getting snatched up. Todd Bowles is already going to Tampa Bay. I guess Steve Wilkes is still out there, and Vance Joseph. Those are some other people that I've heard their names. So it's going to be interesting how that works out. But one of the things I caught my eye was if we were able to lure somebody else's defensive coordinator, like maybe the Ravens defensive coordinator or the Buffalo Bills, like Leslie Frazier, the Bills. I thought the Bills had an excellent defense this year. Their defense was a top 5 defense with an offense that sucked. So if they could actually pair that with an offense that was, I'm not saying the Bears' offense is like world beaters or nothing like that, but way light years ahead of Buffalo. Could you imagine like a defense what Buffalo had if they actually had an offense? How good they might have been the number one defense if they had actually an offense to go along with it to keep their team off the field. So that's what I've been hearing. But I think right now at this point, it's most likely going to be an internal hire, because I can't see. I just don't see any of these other people from outside coming in at this point now, because the Bears have already been too slow to act. Do you think?
Yeah, I think Ed Donatel is definitely a candidate, but Vic Fangio might be able to snatch him up. For me, I've been hearing on Twitter a lot of people want who'd they fucking want? The dude who was in with the Saints for the Greg Williams is who they wanted. I tweeted earlier, I said Greg Williams wishes he could be a fucking Chicago Bear. That guy's a fucking loser. I definitely.
I was thinking him too, but somebody was saying he's a 4-3 guy, so that wouldn't even like for us, most likely.
Yeah, I mean he's just He's a fucking nut. Someone that might be interesting is, let's talk about Ed Donatel, because he was a defensive coordinator before, so he has some experience. He hasn't been one since 2006. He's always had just about middle of the pack defense, except in 2001 with the Packers. He had the fourth. Let me see. Yeah, 16.6 points per game, which was fourth in the NFL. So he had a very good defense one year. None of those defenses obviously had the talent we have right now. So I think he could definitely be a good candidate for a promotion. But other than that, looking at Matt Nagy and his history, I mean, I wouldn't hire anyone who has ties with him from Kansas City. But looking at his Eagles days, Mike Caldwell, who's a linebacker for the Bears in 2002, he might be a good candidate. Right now, he is a linebackers coach for the Bucks. So we might be able to snatch him from the Bucks. Who knows if we're allowed to talk to him still. But let me see. And then a lot of people were saying Del Rio from the used to be the old Raiders coach. He might be a good fit. I just want someone aggressive, unlike Fangio, who used to put Khalil Mack, the best pass rusher in the league, really in the nickel position, guarding tight ends and slot receivers. So I don't want to see that shit anymore with Khalil Mack. I want to see him strictly as a pass rusher.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe a person that might be good is Steve Wilkes, the former Arizona Cardinals coach, because I think he was a defensive coordinator before he took that position, and he had the number one defense at the time. I think it was with Carolina. So I feel like, but I don't know if he's a 3-4 guy or a 4-3 guy. That's like another thing. So I don't know, man. I just hope is someone come in here and just like fuck shit up. That's what I don't want to happen.
Yeah, definitely. I think people are losing Fangio too seriously, in my opinion. I think it might be a good thing, honestly. Give the defense maybe a younger feel to the newer NFL offensive styles. I think Fangio was too laid back at times. I mean, Fangio, man, if if he was more aggressive, I think we could have definitely gone 16-0. That Packers game, he really let his foot off the pedal and allowed the Packers to come back on us. Then the back-to-back game, the Dolphins and the Patriots, where we lost 2 in a row. That was also his fault, in my opinion. As long as Khalil Mack just why would you even drop Khalil Mack back in coverage with the bum ankle? I wouldn't even have him played. I was comfortable with Aaron Lynch and Leonard Floyd at that time, but hey, man.
I know, man.
It might be a blessing in disguise. All right, man. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I think we've pretty much covered it. I think everybody just needs to keep their eyes on this defensive coordinator position and see what happens out of that. Like that's like the major pressing thing for me. The Bears could be waiting potentially for one thing I just thought of right now. They could potentially be waiting for some of these playoff teams to finish, and then pick up somebody from one of these teams that are still playing. That's why they haven't picked up anybody. So that's something to keep an eye on too, because no names are coming out from like the Bears part. It's all from like, fans, media, potential people. No, not even the reporters are saying like this guy has the inside path. So that leads me to believe that it could be somebody who's still playing right now, and so that'd be interesting to see exactly who that might be.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting. The off-season period, definitely different from previous years after a losing season. So we'll have to sustain success this off-season. But before I forget, Donkey of the Week is Cody Parkey. Fuck
no
Cody
doubt.
Parkey.
Yeah.
Going on. What is it? Good Morning America tomorrow for an interview, live interview.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
What a fucking loser. I hope I hope. I mean, I don't hope anything bad on people, but I hope he just gets fucking cut from the Bears as soon as possible. Unfortunately, I don't think that'll be this year. But thanks for being on, man. I know you got to go, but thanks for being on again.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. And it was a good season, or what? No matter what anybody says, man. 12-4 regular season. Nobody thought we were going to be there, and we were there. And we took over the NFC North, 5-1 in the division. Could have been easily 6-0 if we wouldn't have blew that first Packers game. Trending up, guys. So be happy about it.
Yeah,
for the next season, sure.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for being on, and bear down, everyone.
All right, man. Bear down. Later on, dude.
See ya.